Arsenal are into a European Cup final for the first time in 13 years and have the opportunity to win one for the first time in a quarter of a century. Yes, too long. Come with me as we follow Arsenal's journey to the final. Hi everybody, it's Arsenal Fan Circle. Thanks for coming in and watching another video. This season, Arsenal were in the Europa League, which obviously we all want to be in Champions League because we want to be in the top four and competing. And hopefully by the end of this season, we can have a position in the Champions League for next season. But to review how Arsenal did in the Europa League this year, I thought it would be interesting to go back and look at some of the stats. We started our group stages. We were in with Vorskla, Karabag and Sporting Lisbon. We started our campaign at home on the 20th of September versus Vorskla. We won 4-2. 2 goals from Aubameyang, 1 goal from Danny Welbeck, and 1 goal from Mesut Ozil. A comprehensive 4-2 win. The next outing was approximately 2 weeks later. We played Karabag away from home, and we had a facile 3-0 win. I do remember Emil Smith-Rowe scoring the second goal after Socrates had scored the first goal, and Guendouzi finishing off with a low shot into the corner. And this was very beneficial. We could see the younger players coming through in the squad, helping the team. Emil Smith-Rowe may well have a big part to play next season, and Guendouzi bagging a goal as well. A 3-0 win versus Karabag, and Arsenal were off to a great start, 6 points in the group. The next game we played away from home against Sporting Lisbon, a 1-0 win courtesy of Danny Welbeck. I remember it was a very fierce strike near the end of the game. 9 points from 3 games. We were going really, really well in the group stages. And with 3 games to go, all but certain of qualifying. The next game, the 4th game in the group, was at home to Sporting Lisbon. And we secured the point that we needed. A 0-0 draw versus Sporting Lisbon. This allowed us to qualify. That was the good news. The bad news was we lost Danny Welbeck through injury in that game. A season-ending injury for him. 1 of 3 for the club, which would prove detrimental to our league chances. More on that later. The 5th game was against Vorskla, the return leg away from home. And that was a 3-0 win. Again, Emil Smith-Rowe stepping up. Aaron Ramsey manufacturing himself a penalty with what looked like some classic simulation, but fair play to him. He dispatched the penalty himself, and Joe Willock scored the 3rd goal. So we have seen already in this campaign Emil Smith-Rowe stepping forward and Joe Willock, and I really, really believe this is going to be part of our recipe for next season. And I'm not at all against it. I think we should bring some of the youngsters in. The 6th and final game in the group saw Lacazette join the party, scoring his first goal in this competition. Karabag at home, a 1-0 win. So we finished the group with 5 wins and 1 draw for a total of 16 points, and easily secured our passage toward the end of that year. Now, the important thing about some of the group games was that with the new manager, new coach, Unai Emery, he was not adverse to bringing some of the bigger name players to these far-reaching places, some places that had Wi-Fi type names, such as Vorskla. So yeah, he brought Ozil and other big players with him just to sit on the bench and understand that we were a whole squad working together, and I think that was no bad thing at all. So we had a break until the February when we had drawn Bate. Uh, Unfortunately, in the round of 32, this game followed a pasting, a second half pasting at Manchester City, and a narrow win against Huddersfield away from home, 2-1 win at the time. So we played Bate, and we lost 1-0 out there. Um, Alexander Leb played for Arsenal before, and he was part of the Bate group. We got them back to the Emirates a week later, and we won 3-0, setting things right. With an own goal, also a goal from Mustafi and a goal from Socrates. So we secured a 3-1 aggregate passage past Bate for the round of 32. Roll on the round of 16. This game came after the Spurs draw at Wembley, where we played quite well to get a draw at Wembley. So our form was pretty decent. We played Rennes in the round of 16, and the away leg was a big affair for the home team. Rennes had been, this was their highlight game, this was their cup final, and they played as such. We started out quite well with a goal from Iwobi. I remember it was a cross-come shot nestled into the far corner. 1-0 up, you would think we were under control. But as Socrates can do, he got a little bit overzealous and got himself sent off. Right away from the sending off and the ensuing free kick, Rennes scored a very good, deadly bullet type free kick, which Czech had no hope of saving. And Rennes were on their way, and they had us on the ropes a little bit. Two more goals continued, and especially a breakaway goal in the last minutes, which was quite frustrating for all us Gooners. So Arsenal took a first leg deficit of 3-1, and they took that back to the Emirates and were needing to put that right. So the Rennes game at home came directly after the iconic Manchester United win. We'd beaten Manchester United 2-0. We were playing really well at the time. We got the 3 goals, and some would say we should have gotten more on the night. But 3 goals and a clean sheet was enough for us to get past Rennes on a 4-3 aggregate. That night, Aubameyang scored 2, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles scored 1. We rolled forward to the quarterfinal where we played Napoli. This would surely be, after the Rennes game, a challenge that we deserved, because nobody wanted to go out of the competition after the Rennes game. We took on Napoli, and that was surely the tie of the round. Arsenal versus Napoli. We were in good form, and they were in good form, but they had already secured second place, and they weren't going to go any higher or lower in the league, whereas we were more competitive at the time and fighting for our league position. We played really well in the beginning of that game. A fantastic move started by Ramsey through Lacazette, Ozil, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, making a superb reverse pass for Ramsey to finish into the bottom right hand corner. And that was to be not his last Arsenal goal, but his last European goal for Arsenal. And we continued on in that vein in this game. 1-0 up against Napoli. We were playing really well. Torreira took the ball, surged through midfield, and took a chance. Had a shot from 30 yards out. It deflected off of Koulibaly and went in. The very good thing about this tie at home was the first leg against Napoli. We were able to have a clean sheet. So we take a 2-0 clean sheet to Naples for the next game. And we all know what happened in Naples. We wondered if 2-0 would be enough going to Italy, but this team played really well out there. It was a very composed a display, with Lacazette scoring a fantastic free kick from 30 plus yards. And we wondered if the 2 goals lead would be enough, but we actually won the tie with a 3-0 aggregate score against Napoli, and all of Europe was put to notice about where we were and what we could do. The unfortunate aspect of this game was that Aaron Ramsey was injured, and until now he's been deemed out injured till the end of the season. We don't actually know if he can make it for the cup final. The club have actually said that he's out for the rest of the season, so it may well be a very, very bad injury. And now, more recently, we drew Valencia in the semi-final. And recent memory, we all know what happened. A 3-1 win at home with 2 goals from Lacazette and 1 goal from Aubameyang. Coming back from being a goal down, I believe. We scored 3 goals in the first leg. And then most recently, we went to Spain and had a very, very composed display. We did go a goal down to make an aggregate of 3-2, and I was a little nervous until Aubameyang scored a fantastic volley from outside the box. Lacazette shuffled in the box from a quick pass and work from Aubameyang on the wing, and a pass from Torreira into Lacazette's feet. He was able to find the corner of the net, and then in the second half it was the Aubameyang show as he finished with 2 more goals for a hat-trick in Europe. So we rightly navigated quite well through the group stages. The Bate loss and the Rennes loss were 2 things that we had to overcome with our home legs, which we did quite well with 3-0 wins on each occasion. So as you can see, we are in a final now, having navigated past Rennes, who went on to win a cup final in France. So they've got some pedigree, and against Napoli. And we were the only team, aside from Juventus, to beat Napoli at home. So that is a feather in our cap. Running through the goals scored and who were the top goal scorers in this Europa League campaign so far. No surprises in thinking that our strikers are our top scorers. Aubameyang so far has scored 8 goals in all of his games so far in the Europa League. Lacazette has scored 5. So we have scored a total of 29 goals, and 13 of those goals have come from our strikers. I'll just go through briefly the other goal scorers. We lost Danny Welbeck early in the campaign, but he already had bagged 2 goals for us. And who's to say that he would not have scored a few more goals in this competition for us. Ramsey scored 2 goals. Socrates scored 2 goals. Emile Smith-Rowe scored 2 goals. And then 1 goal each for Ozil, Guendouzi, Willock, Mustafi, Iwobi, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So we have finished with 29 goals for in this competition. 13 of those goals, as I said, have come from our super strikers. Oba and Laka. We have conceded 9 goals. 3 of those goals came against Rennes in the one game, which we were down 1 man. And another 3 of those goals came in the 2 ties versus Valencia. And then we lost 1 goal in Bate, and we lost 2 goals in the first home game versus Forsla. But that has been a quickish recap of our league, not Europa League campaign. And hey, if you're new to the channel, you're watching this for the first time, consider hitting that subscribe button. Write that down, right down there. The bell notification, and everybody who's watched this to the end, please do watch videos to the end. Smash the like button. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, and I do appreciate all of my subscribers. If you're new to the channel, consider being part of the band of brothers and hit that subscriber button. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.